When peace feels unfamiliar, restoration begins here. This is P.I.P.E Podcast.
Welcome back to P.I.P.E Podcast. I'm Ann. Today I want to talk about something I never thought I would experience. Peace. Not the kind of peace that comes because life is perfect, but the kind of peace that comes after you survive things you never thought you would survive. If you lived in survival mode, you know exactly what I mean. For most of my life, I didn't know what peace felt like. I knew fear, anxiety, always being on guard. I knew waiting for the next bad thing to happen. And that became normal. Survival wasn't something I did. It became who I was. When you live through abuse and betrayal, heartbreak, loss, and disappointment, your body learns to expect pain. Even when life starts getting better, part of you is still waiting for it to fall apart. And that was me. Even after God began healing my heart, peace felt unfamiliar. Sometimes it even made me uncomfortable. I kept waiting for the bottom to fall out, and I kept wondering, when is something bad going to happen? I wasn't sure I deserved the peaceful life. I wasn't sure it would last. Maybe you felt that way too. Maybe you prayed for peace, and then when it finally came, you didn't know how to receive it. And that's what survival does. It teaches us how to fight, but it never teaches us how to reset and rest. So for years, I believed resting was being lazy. If I wasn't doing something, fixing something, helping somebody, or worrying about something, I felt guilty. I didn't know how to simply be. Then about a year ago, something happened that I'll never forget. I had been fasting and praying and asking God for direction, asking Him what my purpose was. Even though my healing journey had begun, I still had doubts. I was grieving the loss of my best friend, and I felt incredibly alone. That day I had cried for hours. I felt forgotten. I wondered if I was ever going to fully become the woman God created me to be. I laid there, completely exhausted, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. And while I was lying there, something happened. I had a vision. I saw myself rising higher and higher into the heavens. It wasn't frightening, but it was beautiful. For the first time, I didn't feel forgotten. I felt chosen. I can't fully explain it. I only know when I came back to myself, everything felt different. I felt God's presence in a way that I had never experienced before. I knew, without anyone even telling me, that He had touched me. I also knew I couldn't stay where I had been. I had to accept His invitation to rise. Not because I had earned it, but because He was calling me higher. Looking back now, I realized that vision wasn't really about flying. It was about freedom. God wasn't showing me where I was going. He was showing me who I was becoming. For the first time in my life, I wasn't just surviving. I was beginning to live. And that realization didn't happen all at once. It happened one day at a time, one prayer at a time, one decision at a time. And the more I released my past, the more room God had to fill my life with His peace. One thing I discovered was that peace and fear cannot lead your life at the same time. One of them will always be louder. And for years, fear was louder. Fear told me to stay guarded, not to trust. It told me to expect disappointment and to prepare for the worst. But little by little, God's voice became louder than those fears. His peace became stronger than my anxiety. His promises became stronger than my doubts. And I started noticing something else. I wasn't carrying the weight of the past the way I used to. Instead of constantly thinking about what happened to me, I found myself noticing the people around me. I began seeing their pain, their struggle, their silent battles. Healing had changed my perspective. When you're in surviving, everything feels like about getting through another day. But when you're healing, your heart begins opening up to other people again. I started realizing every person has a story. Every smile doesn't mean someone isn't hurting. Every strong person has probably walked through something difficult. And that realization gave me compassion I didn't have before. One thing I used to struggle with was waiting for something bad to happen. Have you ever experienced that? Everything is finally going well, and instead of enjoying it, you're waiting for the bottom to fall out. Well, that was me. I thought happiness came with a price. I thought peace was temporary. I wondered, when is it going to end? But today, that's no longer my struggle. You want to know why? Because I counted the cost. I realized fear had already stolen enough from me. It had stolen my joy, my peace, my confidence. It stole years of my life. And I wasn't willing to pay the price anymore. So whenever fear tries to return, I remind myself what it cost. And I choose gratitude instead. To God be the glory. One of the most beautiful things healing has done, has changed my relationships. Some people became more distant at first, and that did hurt. Then I realized something. I'm different now. I move differently. I think differently. I even respond differently because I give myself permission to slow down. I give myself space to heal. I no longer feel the need to explain every decision I make, and I'm learning to trust God, even when I don't understand what He's doing. And because I'm healthier, my relationships are becoming healthier too. The greatest gift that God has given me isn't money. It isn't success or recognition. It's peace. Real peace. Money couldn't buy this peace because the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Today, my dreams look different than they used to. For years, my dreams were simply to survive. Now, I dream about living. I want to travel. I want to see the beauty that God created all over this world. I want to experience different cultures, meet different people, and learn new things. And this is not because I'm trying to escape life, because I'm finally enjoying the life that God gave me. For so many years, fear had kept my wings folded. But now, I'm finally giving myself permission to fly. People often ask me, what does joy look like now? The answer surprises them. For me, joy isn't found in something expensive. It's not found in having more. It's not even found in everything going my way. Today, joy looks very simple. It's sitting at home with a simple meal. It's taking a walk and noticing God's great creations. Or listening to the birds and watching the sunrise, feeling the breeze. Or even waking up without fear controlling my thoughts. It's laughing without wondering what bad thing's about to happen next. Those little moments have become some of the greatest blessings of my life. When I was younger, I didn't understand rest. I thought resting meant I was being lazy. I believed I always had to be doing something, fixing something, carrying something, worrying about something. Today, I understand rest very differently. Rest is trusting God. Rest is simply releasing my fears into His hands. It's believing that I don't have to carry tomorrow before it gets here. Rest is also knowing that even when I walk through the valley of the shadows of death, I don't have to fear evil because He is with me every step of the way, every valley, every mountain. He's there. Prayer has become my foundation. When I don't know what to do, I pray. When I become overwhelmed, I pray. When I'm uncertain, I stop, I breathe, and I wait. I ask God to order my steps instead of me rushing ahead and repeating the same mistakes that I've made before. I'm learning that waiting isn't wasting time. Sometimes waiting is worship. One experience that changed my perspective forever was my trip to Africa. And what stood out to me the most, it wasn't the scenery. It wasn't the buildings, but it was the people. Many of them had so much less than I had monetarily, but they had something that I desperately wanted. Peace, joy, a contentment that couldn't be explained by their circumstances. That trip reminded me that joy doesn't come from what we own. Joy comes from what we know. And today, I know God is faithful. And if you're listening today and you prayed for peace, but you're almost afraid to trust it, I understand. Maybe you lived in a survival mode for so long that peace feels unfamiliar. Maybe you're waiting for something bad to happen because that's all you ever known. Well, I want to encourage you. Learn to love yourself. Put your trust in God. Spend time in His Word. Fast and pray. Then sit quietly in His presence. Allow Him to transform you from the inside out. And one day, you realize something has changed. For me, I know I was healing when I no longer wanted revenge on the people who had hurt me. Instead, I wanted forgiveness. And it wasn't because they deserved it, but it was because I deserved peace. That was the moment I realized that God had been changing my heart all along. Today, joy looks like real love, real forgiveness, real peace. Not living without awareness, but living without fear. Trusting God's protection instead of living in constant panic. I also finally given myself permission to love from a distance, to say no without asking permission, to protect my peace without feeling guilty, to simply be who God created me to be. And if you ask me what I had learned before I could finally enjoy being alive, my answer would be simple. I had to believe that I mattered. I had to believe that I was worthy of God's love. I had to stop believing the lies that my past had spoken over me. And I had to believe that I was somebody. Not because people said so, but because God said so. I'm still growing. I'm still learning and healing. But today I can honestly say I have peace. It's not because life is perfect, but because God is faithful. So if you're still living in survival mode, I want you to know something. There is life after survival. There is peace after fear. There is joy after heartache. And there is hope after disappointment. And there is healing after pain. So don't give up before you experience the life that you've been praying for. Because one day you're going to wake up and realize you are no longer just surviving. You're finally living. So thank you for spending this time with me today. And remember, what you're connected to will either build your life or break it. So choose peace, choose joy, choose rest, choose faith, and most importantly, plug into positive energy. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you for sitting with us today, where restoration begins.